Thank you, Pi Lambda Phi. Brothers, tonight we renew friendships, honor accomplishments, and service to Pi Lambda Phi, and think about our fraternity, its creed, history, and the meaning of not 4 years, but a lifetime. On this night, I want to share what not 4 years, but a lifetime has meant to two Pi Lambs, and I hope to all of us. The plaque that you see on the screen is inscribed in commemoration of those brothers whose dedicated efforts helped in the establishment, growth, character, and prestige of our fraternity. The 11th name on the plaque is Edward M. Orloff. To his friends, and they were many, he was Eddie Orloff. Eddie Orloff loved Pi Lambda Phi. He lived not 4 years, but a lifetime. He grew up in Brooklyn, the first child of immigrant parents. After high school, he had to work for 2 years to be able to afford college. He enrolled at New York University in 1924. He joined New York Gamma chapter of Pi Lambda Phi. He lived in the fraternity house on Andrews Avenue, even though his home was a subway ride away. He played second base for the NYU varsity football team. At 5'9", 145 pounds, he played halfback for a varsity football team, good enough to fill Yankee Stadium for its annual game with Fordham, and to nearly beat the University of Nebraska. He graduated in 1928, he started a business, he did well enough to marry, begin a family, support his family through the depths of the Great Depression. He continued the friendships he had started at Pi Lambda Phi. But not 4 years, but a lifetime meant more to him than just these friendships. His work required extensive travel. As he traveled, whenever he was near a Pi Lam chapter, he would stop by, introduce himself, get to know the brothers, and ask what he could do for them. No one told him to do this. He did it because he loved Pi Lambda Phi. He lived not 4 years, but a lifetime. Eddie Orloff was my father. I wish I could say he taught me about Pi Lambda Phi, and not 4 years, but a lifetime. He never got the chance. He died without warning of a massive heart attack. He was 41. I was 5. But what he couldn't teach me, perhaps he passed along in his genes. I arrived at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in the fall of 1956, a 16-year-old freshman, academically and socially unprepared for a large, demanding university. For the first time in my life, I was struggling with my studies and to fit in. Somehow, Pi Lambda Phi saw potential that I had come to doubt myself. The New York Kappa chapter had been founded in 1949 as a local fraternity, Kappa Tau. Many of its founders had experienced diversity in the armed forces and accepted it as how things should be. When they chose men for their fraternity, they were interested in the man, not his religion, nationality, or the color of his skin. They understood that the longevity of Kappa Tau would require the guidance and resources of a national fraternity. They spoke to a number. In each case, the answer was the same. We'll take you, but only if you get rid of so-and-so. We don't accept men of his religion, race, nationality, or skin color. Kappa Tau's reply was always the same. We're not interested. If that's the condition. Small wonder they chose Pi Lambda Phi. They were initiated in 1954. The successors to the founders of Kappa Tau accepted me for what I was and might become, not for how well I fit someone's stereotype. They encouraged me to share in the leadership of the chapter as Russian chairman, creator of the first alumni homecoming and alumni newsletter, scribe, and marshal. They helped me to grow and to learn skills that would serve me the rest of my life. My term as Russian chairman is one example. Though usually one of the smallest houses on campus, we had, for us, a large graduating class. Russian began with freshmen naming the fraternities by which they wanted to be rushed. Only 3 picked Pi Lambda Phi. What resulted was an exercise in what today we would call branding. I had to decide quickly what made us different and better, why this should matter, and how to sell it to an audience that had already overwhelmingly said it wasn't interesting. A big part of the answer was diversity. We succeeded and recruited the largest pledge class to that date. I graduated in 1960, earned my MBA at Harvard, and started a career that began in corporate strategic planning and mergers and acquisitions, and led into investment banking. In 1990, I moved to Atlanta to start a boutique investment banking firm in mergers and acquisitions. My objective was not just to earn a living, but to change lives. By helping people to realize the dream of owning a business, or to gain access to the time and money needed to pursue other dreams by selling one. Working for myself, I would eventually have the freedom to indulge a passion for volunteering. My life as a volunteer had begun almost as the ink was drying on my Harvard diploma, and has continued for more than half a century. I have been privileged to serve my fraternity, alma maters, profession, and community, locally and nationally, in roles that have enabled me to contribute, form friendships, grow, and learn. A decade or so ago, I began to think seriously about the institutions that had had a profound impact on my life, the obligations that should go with these benefits, and how I could fulfill these obligations. One result will be the bequest of a scholarship fund for Pi Lambda Phi to be named after my father and myself, preserving in memory a bond that lasted too briefly in life. When I moved to Atlanta, I declined the chance to be president of the Rensselaer Alumni Association. The responsibilities of starting a new business would leave too little time to be effective. I decided that what time I could devote to RPI would be most effectively spent on fundraising. The result was a relationship with the Rensselaer Annual Fund that continues to this day. I am currently leader of a team of 50 or so volunteers who raise more than 1/4 of the annual fund. I lead this team by example as its top fundraiser and vice chairman of the Advisory Council of the School of Management and trustee of the Advisory Council of the Annual Fund. 5 years ago, Sean Upchurch, Jeff Bueller, and Chip Lumen asked if I would serve on the board of the Educational Foundation. Fortunately, for me, I said yes. Participating in strengthening our fraternity, planning its future, assuring the longevity of Pi Lambda Phi has been a great privilege. So, what have I learned from a lifetime of volunteering. Let me try to summarize. Wealth and power should not be an end in themselves. They will not be fully enjoyed until used in helping others. Whatever we have achieved in life, we have been helped to do by others. In accepting this help, we should accept an obligation to assure that those who follow us will have the same opportunities from which we benefit. This obligation includes sharing both our time and treasure with institutions that have helped us. Pi Lambda Phi is a unique institution. As obvious as the wisdom of a diverse, non-sectarian fraternity seems today, as widely accepted as it is, it was a radical idea when first propounded by Frederick Manfred Werner, Louis Samuel Levy, and Henry Moore Fisher. The words of our creed, that all men are created free and equal, echo those of Thomas Jefferson in the Declaration of Independence. The implication that freedom implies the elimination of prejudice necessarily follows. The commitment that it is incumbent upon me to fight for such freedom, even with my life, was made by those who fought the Revolution. The Declaration of Independence was written to explain. Yet, in the time of brothers Werner, Levy, and Fisher, all too few lived these words. The common response to discrimination was for those excluded to withdraw into institutions as exclusionary as those from which they had been excluded. The idea that victims of discrimination should form institutions that would be open even to those who had discriminated against them was as radical in 1895 as were Thomas Jefferson's words in 1776. 121 years later, that idea endures, it remains vital, and it has been widely, but sadly, not universally accepted. That our ideals and our fraternity have endured for 121 years is the result of the work of generations of men dedicated to the longevity of Pi Lambda Phi. So tonight, I ask you to consider how we can all live, not 4 years, but a lifetime, and commit to the longevity of Pi Lambda Phi for the next 121 years and well beyond. We can do and aspire to do this. Let our chapter and international headquarters know who we are and where we are. They can't communicate with us if they can't find us. Give our email address to our chapter and IHQ. It is so much more efficient to communicate digitally than by postal mail that they can afford to do it much more often. We want to share with you the inspiring stories of how we're helping young men to discover and realize their potential in molding future Big Pies. Men who will help build a better fraternity, community, and world. Helping to teach young men to lead like a Pi Lambda, providing scholarships, building strong chapters, reviving lapsed chapters, expanding to new campuses, and communicating with and serving alumni costs money. Who is going to pay for it? We can. We should. We must. As soon as you are able, at least once a year, write a check or give online. When you are able, consider a major gift and a bequest. And I assure you that many of you will be able and should. Volunteer for our chapter, nationally, or both. The great work of Pi Lambda Phi is done by Pi Labs. There is much to be done. Help to do it. The rewards will be substantial. So, thank you for this award. Thank you to brothers past, present, and future who have enriched my life by making it possible for me to be a Pi Lam and to be proud to be a Pi Lam, and of all that Pi Lambda Phi stands for, has accomplished, and will accomplish. It's a great time to be a Pi Lam. If we continue to live, not 4 years, but a lifetime, I am confident of the longevity of Pi Lambda Phi.